Welcome back. It was a tale of two banks and two property groups this week. Hyprop mentioned Pick n Pay a lot. Growthpoint, not once. Absa reported no growth. Standard did. So let's hear from Sim Shabalala why exactly that was. Hint, Africa.
Standard Bank has got the continent's largest, and dare I say it, the best global markets business on the continent. It provides risk management services to people that are exposed to foreign exchange, to interest rates, to commodities, and to equities. And that business in South Africa and in Africa regions has done great business in the service of our customers. That's the first one. So trading revenues were very, very strong.
So HEPS was up Standard Bank 29%, looks lovely, but then impairments. Outlook, rest of continent, South Africa doing poorly. They don't mention how much Nigeria, because of course the Naira, we've seen that hit MTN. That headline number faded away very quickly in the details.
They warned about that. They warned that, ahead, be careful of depreciation of currencies, which we see. Those African nations are not strong. There's no real growth. There's no massive development in Africa. So yes, they make certain headways and they're doing well, but you can't rely on it. 60, I don't know what you could say, 40 to 60% still comes from here, which was under pressure, as you mentioned, with the impairments and that. So just be careful. I wouldn't sing from from the treetops.
So would you say it's an unfair comparison to put Standard Bank against Absa in terms of the results performance?
We had no growth.
We had no growth.
Well, 1%.
Well, Absa is very exposed to South Africa as well, particularly on the mortgage side, and they're under pressure. For me, that's the story. And you mentioned it in the intro when we started to look at results here. When you dig into the results, you start to see a lot of scary things developing. So we can concentrate. The rest of that, some came from. You must also remember their offshore business in Standard Bank as well also contributed a lot, which would be Zurich, all the offices there where you had a depreciation of the rand, and you earn some foreign currency. So I like the bank. I bank there. I'm very happy with it. But I'm saying just don't get too carried away with the numbers.
Right.
No comment.
Sure.
The market knocked them 6%.
I know.
That tells you.
I own Standard Bank shares. It was a horrible day yesterday.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, it wasn't all roses up north if you consider that Hyprop's numbers were whacked by that devaluation of the Naira. And then there's Pick n Pay making its life tricky, although why it's doing so for Hyprop and not other mall owners is a little perplexing. Here's Growthpoint's Norbert Sasser on their particular headache, interest rates.
I'd say about 80% of the, let's say, reduction in distributable income is directly attributable to higher interest rates across our businesses in the various jurisdictions that we're in. As you pointed out in your introduction, operationally, things are actually not bad. If I look at the key performance indicators, let's call it the direct property metrics, while some of them might still be negative, they're less negative than they were. In particular, let's say, rental reversions in South Africa.
So we mentioned interest rates up top of the show. We mentioned interest rates last week and how they're starting to hurt.
A lot.
Yeah. That's why we've got to see them come down. It's hurting, and it hurts business. And the problem, as Hemingway said, about bankruptcy, it's gradual and then sudden. And I'm worried about that sudden. And that's why I look so carefully into the numbers that come through. The worry with Pick n Pay, and I'm not a property expert, but what you do know is that if they're in your shopping center and they start closing or they start reducing, first of all, that's your anchor tenant. They draw the people in, they draw the other shops in, they draw the restaurant. If they go or reduce, it gives the others an out. So it's very, very serious for shopping center owners. And I know a lot of Pick n Pay, you can hear, when you read the results, a lot of them, a lot of shops are being, in fact, they're financing. Did you see that SENS announcement? They're asking for financial, to help people who own their stores.
And that's the trick. And it's also, so then Pick and Pay goes to Hyprop, and Hyprop has a lot more exposure to it. Someone said to me it's 7% of GLA, whereas at Growth Point, their retail is only 25%. But so Pick and Pay goes to Hyprop and says, about that little store, how much we pay, can we, so you stay, but at a much better rate. And
exactly. And the last thing you want in a shopping centre are boarded up shops, you know, paper shop.
Because Hyprop has a few of those already.
Because people do not want to come in.
He was talking about a good game about the new CEO, the new old CEO of Pick and Pay. What's happening now?
He's kitchen sinking it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I don't think
down
he's kitchen
everything.
sinking it. I think it's doomed.
Okay, so then the question
Even
is,
he can't save it.
Is Pick and Pay going bust?
I don't know. It looks like
your
it's
problem.
heading that
Problem is they need money to grow.
I know, but the bankers will give it to them because bankers are like drug addicts. Right?
No,
You're in for a lot, we'll have a whole lot more.
No, but they are not refinancing them. That's why all of a sudden the debt is mushrooming.
Bankers play very hard ball.
No, they do play hard ball. Sure, but the debt covenants. I mean, it's always like there's always these debt covenants, right? And they're taken very seriously until they get triggered, and then everyone's like, yeah, what the heck? I mean, it's like I don't know bankers.
I don't know, man. It doesn't look good for Pick and Pay from where we're standing.
It's worrying me. And then you've got SPAR admitting all kinds of errors as well. You say, what's happened to our great retailers, you know? Thank God for ShopRite. I saw there was an article today by Brian Cantor in Business Day saying, hold on a sec, just go have a look at ShopRite's results again in dollars. Not so great. You know? So wherever you go, I don't know. Everybody's having a go at them at the retailers. So.
Well, we've got a new one for you. You ready for We Buy Cars book build? It starts Monday. Transaction Capital expects to raise 750 million rand from spinning out its one healthy asset. Well, it's got Newton as well, but you buying some We Buys?
Me, second-hand car trader? Nah.
Right.
What is that?
Right, it's in an ivory tower above such little things.
Yeah, I've never owned a new car in my life. All my cars, 4 of them, been second.
I don't know. It's time to buy a 911, brand new stock.
Right, there were lots of questions on Stockwatch on Wednesday night about for existing shareholders in Transaction Capital what it actually means for them. Do you have a clearer idea? Because we were a little bit confused, actually.
I think they're just selling off shares to.
So they're selling some. They're selling some.
Yeah.
So Coronation took some, and that's where they got their valuation from. Then they're selling some in a book build, and then they're doing an unbundle as well.
Are they unbundling as well?
If they're doing an unbundling, then you're going to get some.
Yeah.
So then you're going to get some, but they're also doing a capital raising.
Yes.
So you could buy more.
If you wanted a bigger stake.
But they haven't given ratios and that sort of stuff yet, and I imagine that's waiting on pricing.
Yeah. I thought we were just ignorant. It's just that it hasn't been available.
Yeah. I scoured that sense, and it says a lot, but didn't tell us very much in truth. And then what's left to Transaction Capital? SA Taxi, do they just hand that back to the union? Or give it to the union?
No.
The union
That's for the bankers. Give it to the bankers.
Give it to the bankers. Leave Newton behind.
Yes. Which is break your knees business, yeah.
Yeah, but very, very profitable in a high interest rate environment.
No, guys. We're digressing here.
All right, okay.
Then Bright is getting us back on track.
Over at Boeing HQ, things are more than a little hairy right now. It turns out the aviation group's production process failed 33 of 89 audits conducted during an FAA probe. Not going in a Boeing any longer. Right? It's a...
I'm flying out in a Boeing on Friday, on Monday, yeah.
No, on a Boeing.
It was nice knowing you.
On a Boeing.
You get a good price ticket.
787, I don't know, the Dreamliner.
Was it suddenly really reduced, your ticket?
I don't know. I must just check my insurance, that's all I was.
I mean, the bad news sort of compounds, or is it now all being flushed out, and this is the moment where Boeing has to redeem itself?
Well, it's probably a bit of everything. I mean...
Get rid of the accountant as a CEO for a start.
No, think about the whistleblower that, died of suicide
over the weekend
by 2 bullets in the back of the head. Okay, which is quite interesting. But looking at Boeing itself, I think there's always been lots of issues, not just with Boeing and with Airbus as well. But now they're, a little bit more accentuated because everyone is focusing on what Boeing is doing. And I mean, you hear things happening down in Sydney, you hear things happening down in, in LA, all of that stuff. But these were things that were probably happening, but were not getting reported that much. I
I don't know. Planes fall out of the sky, man. Like,
Well,
there.
these are not planes falling out the
like
sky. These are planes going back because there's been an issue. I've been in a plane like that like twice
There was
here in South Africa, but it didn't get this much journalism.
Yeah, I think that's what worries me about SAA. No, I'm saying, you know,
sure,
when the government decides we're going to continue, if that, we used to have Plus. I mean, we were very highly regarded in terms of our technical assistance.
Technical was one of people
Right.
Lufthansa, their code, they would send their planes to us
And
because
then
it
it
had
started
such
to
high
fall.
skills.
You started to drop your standards. You know, even talking to pilots and that, they would tell you, hold on, it's not what it used to be. If you can't afford that and you don't maintain that standard, then literally the planes do fall.
But also-
out. That concerns me.
Boeing did that deal with McDougall, whatever, McDougall.
McDonald, yeah?
No, not McDonald.
Oh, McDoodle. Where?
No,
Come
man,
on.
the other the little airline in the US used to be yeah. Yeah, no one can say it. Let's call it McDougall. And what happened is that the accountants took over Boeing instead of engineers, and that's what we see in the numbers. Lots of share buybacks, lots of stuff, but no safety.
Financialization, not sort of operational excellence.
Yeah, well, it's tough.
I can't believe we can't actually remember the name of that aviation company. And finally, the world's southernmost post office is looking for 3 employees to spend 4 months sorting mail and counting penguins. The UK Antarctic Heritage Trust needs the staff to sort through letters and postcards, 80,000 of them, sell postage stamps, run a small gift shop, and keep count of Port Lockroy's colony of about 1,500 Gentoo penguins. Is it a job that you would apply for? Because apparently some of the caveats are that there's no running water. You have to doss down with 5 other people in a small shelter with bunk beds, and the smell of penguin poo is apparently overwhelming.
This is perfect for the job we had last
What
week,
does it
the
pay?
stoner job.
What's the pay? Job satisfaction?
Oh, okay.
I want to know how they got 80,000 postcards. I mean, just the penguins.
It's a lot of postcards.
It's a lot of postcards.
That far south.
Isn't this meant for Father Christmas? It ends up at this post office instead.
No, he's
No, this
he's
is Arctic.
generally the North Pole. This
Oh,
is
that's
Antarctica.
Arctic.
Oh,
This is
and
South
art.
Pole.
Okay,
Wrong,
sorry.
wrong.
Anyway, if you tire of the financial markets, there's an
There's
opportunity
a job for
out
you.
there.
Too cold for me.
And that was the week that was. Thanks, David and Bright. Have a good evening and a great weekend.